this matchup between Arizona Wildcats, Long Beach State Beach. This game preview comes from the West region. It has added intel from long-standing NCAA Basketball National Championship pundits that have generously offered up terrific and valuable information that I'm going to share with you. So stick around. Before diving into this big game and the information I have that I'm going to share, and I think it'll help you get a lean on which way to go in this game, the media troop here at Wager Talk Studios have asked me to ask you to hit that subscribe button. That's the blinking light on your screen. You will spend less than 1 minute offering the media team information that allows them to send you updated programming schedules, the changes in the schedules, possibly announcements that pertain to the wishes, the whims, your desires that you've shared with surveys, etc., etc. Make your Wager Talk TV experience the best it can be by hitting the subscribe button. Again, 1 minute. I assure you this, you will be glad you did, will be glad that you did. Let's point out the obvious in the second-seeded Arizona squad versus the 15th seed Long Beach State Beach. Not a single win or loss by U of A this regular season. The big ones, the good ones, the bad ones, the good, the bad, and the indifferent. They're irrelevant. None of it matters. The only thing that matters is surviving and advancing for a team like Arizona, a 2 seed that has proved themselves many times over. Sure, yes, they have been more disappointments in the second half of the season with this Cats than there were in the early stages. But those things typically follow when you get into conference play. Teams that know you, that you played twice a year, it's always more difficult to be perfect, or at least better than your opponent every single night or every single game night against league foes. Whether Arizona will be cutting down the nets, that's been the talk recently in Glendale, a nice place to be cutting down the nets that close to home, if it's possible, if it even evolves. Shouldn't even be talked about right now. Everything that these kids do right now comes down to one game at a time, advancing. Is Arizona's path favorable to get to Glendale? Yes, it is. I think it is. Their corner of the bracket sets up really nicely. But it all sets up nicely as I see it, how it's going to play out, right? It doesn't always work that way, does it? And that path changes every single bounce of the ball almost when these guys are, especially on Thursday and Friday, in the round of 64. Those 16 games on Thursday and the 16 on Friday, crazy. The simplest little mistake or the simplest little favor bounce of the ball changes everything. Now, there's better teams in Arizona, and I was going to start referencing again what people are talking about Arizona, that they're the next best thing since sliced bread, at least west of the Mississippi. But they're better teams than Arizona in this 2024 tourney. But the best team doesn't always win. I've referenced the scuffles that the Cats have experienced in the second half of the season. Of Arizona's 8 losses, 2 have come in the last 3 games. 3 have come in the last 8 games. That's recent. That's in the last month. They're not in a comfortable chair. They aren't. No matter what you hear, they haven't been impressive this last month. Not looking over their recent work. Look at the numbers even. Here's the thing. The Cats are not playing great basketball right now. They lost to a team, Oregon, in the tournament that they'd beaten twice handily during the regular season. But then again, that's another animal too. Were they trying? Were they ready? Did they believe they were going to get a second seed, whether they won or lost? Did they believe that even winning and exerting that injury and possibly some of the guys who were sore and possibly injured, did they want to risk just the chance of having a 1 when even if they won the tournament, that may not have happened, and I believe it wouldn't have. Long Beach won the Big West tournament on Saturday night. And they did it behind the legend Dan Monson. He learned that he would not be returning next season after 17 years with the school. Now, it was announced then. I believe all this was set up so his kids would be playing the best they could play, as hard as they can play, and doing it for the Gipper, right? Arizona's Tommy Lloyd's connected to Monson. He is. Monson offered Lloyd a graduate position when he was at Gonzaga in the 90s. On his message to the players, Monson said to his players, his Long Beach State players, just enjoy everything, play hard, throw some haymakers, take some risks, etc., etc. This is going to be a loose Long Beach team, and they're going to be difficult to beat. Now, what do we know? We know that both teams have cracks. We watched Arizona get pounded by USC and Oregon recently in the tournament. They fell to Washington State at home, which was a bad loss. I know Washington State's played well. They had a good team. It was a bad loss. And everything is real. The squad is neither tough enough. This is Arizona. They're neither tough enough or experienced enough to win 6 straight games. This came from a guy, a pundit I really respect, and I agree with him 100%. Nevertheless, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this game against Long Beach State. Lloyd has handled the routine, the media, everything that comes with the big dance, and it's a distraction every single minute. They're a program that takes a ton of pride, and despite the fact that they've had their struggles, and the fact that 20 points is a big number to lay against Long Beach State, a number that he's not going to be trying to cover, if that's what it takes to actually advance, he would try to cover that 20. That's not what he's going to do. Not to his friend, a guy he's known for years. However, the players don't know it. They're not going to listen to that. This Arizona team is that much better than Long Beach State. The play, West region, and the bracket, that corner of the bracket on Thursday night. Arizona minus the points.